What's up guys, Jonny May here, and welcome to this week's quick tip where I'm going to teach you the bluesiest scale of all time. And if you think that the bluesiest scale is the blues scale, you are wrong about that, because the blues scale actually is missing a few of the most common blue notes that you would hear a pro blues pianist play. So in today's lesson, I'm not only going to teach you what I think is the bluesiest scale of all time, but I'm going to show you some exercises to help you master this scale. And at the end, I'm going to teach you the essential keys to improvising with this scale. So be sure to stick around to the end, and let's go ahead and dive in. All right, first we're going to start with the most common scale used in the blues. It's called the blues scale, and most people play this scale when they play the blues. Okay, but the problem with this scale is it's actually missing a few of the key notes that a pro blues player would play. I'm going to play the blues again, but this time I'm going to use another scale which I actually think is the most bluesy scale. Doesn't that sound so much more interesting? So that's what I want to teach you today, is this other blues scale that will take your blues playing to a totally different level because you're adding in some really cool notes. But before we move on, if you're enjoying this video, please hit the like button, and if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe for more videos just like this. Okay, so quick little refresher. If you don't know the blues scale, I want to show it to you, and then I'm going to show you this other scale that will make it sound so much more interesting. So let's say you're playing the blues, you're probably playing like a C7 chord in your left hand, and the scale most teachers would tell you to play is the C blues scale if you want to improvise on the blues. And the C blues scale has C, E flat, F, F sharp, G, and B flat. Okay, it's a 6-note scale. It's a great sounding scale, but if you only use this scale, you're really missing out on all of the other sounds that you could be getting. So what is the problem with this scale? Well, when you're playing this scale, you're actually missing 3 of the key notes that you really need to play the blues. And in this case, for the C blues, you're missing out on the notes D, E, and A, okay? So there's no D, E, and A in the C minor blues scale, and so it can really limit your sound. So let's fix this problem once and for all. And so the first step is to play a new scale. This is called the C Mixolydian Scale, and this is step 1 to adding the important notes of your blues scale. And again, I'm going to show you some exercises and how to improvise with this scale. Okay, the C Mixolydian Scale is a 7-note scale. It looks like a C major scale, except we're adding the B flat to this scale, okay? The C Mixolydian Scale is actually the same scale as an F major scale, except you're starting on the 5th of the F scale, okay? So this is step 1 to playing this more interesting sounding blues scale, is play the C Mixolydian Scale, and as you might notice, hey, there are some additional notes in this scale that we did not have in the C blues scale. There's our D, there's our E, and there's our A. All right, so the Mixolydian Scale is step number 1, and once you can play the Mixolydian Scale, you're going to combine it with your minor blues scale. So let's put this together. The C Mixolydian Scale, and then the C minor blues scale, or the C blues scale. Well, you already have a few notes from the C blues scale, except the E flat and the G flat, okay? So check this out. This is the scale that you want to play if you want to get a pro blues sound. It's called the C Mixo-Blues Scale, and it is a combination of the C Mixolydian Scale and the C blues scale, okay? And I know it sounds really funky when you play it like this, but I'm going to do a little improv with these 9 notes and check out how cool it sounds. I absolutely love the sound of this scale. Now, in just a few minutes, I'm going to show you some cool improv techniques, but we need to talk first about the ideal fingering for this scale and some essential exercises to really get it in your fingers so that you feel confident when you're improvising. So the fingering for the Mixo-Blues Scale is actually incredibly easy. We're going to start on the C, we're going to go second finger on the D, third finger on the E flat, and then thumb under to the E and do the same thing. So thumb on the E, index on the F, third finger on the F sharp, thumb under to the G, index finger on the A, third finger on the B flat, okay? What makes this scale so simple is that you only need to use these first three fingers, and something that can be really helpful is to just block each of these three positions, okay? So do this up the piano and try to get really comfortable and play it kind of fast, and this will really help you gain some confidence with this scale. Another little trick to help you remember your C Mixo-Blues Scale is that it's like a major scale, except you're going to flat the 7, and then you're going to add the flat 3 and the flat 5. So you could figure this scale out in any key with this formula. For example, if you wanted to play it in G, well, play the G major scale, flat the 7, and now add the flat 3 and the flat 5, and you have your G Mixo-Blues Scale. Now you're probably thinking, Johnny, that all sounds great, but I want to improvise with this scale. I want to start using it in my playing. But the problem is if you just start improvising with this scale without doing some exercises, you're not going to feel very confident improvising with this scale. So in the next step, I'm going to teach you 3 essential exercises to master this scale. You're going to learn a beginner, intermediate, and advanced exercise. So it doesn't matter your playing level, there's an exercise for you. All right, beginner pianists, a great exercise is what I call a swung 8th exercise. I'll play it for you and then I'll break it down. Okay, it's actually a pretty easy exercise, but it can take a little while to get the right feel. So we're going to talk about that as well. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to play that C Mixo-Blues Scale up the piano, and we're going to swing the notes, okay? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then when we get up to that B flat, we're going to come down 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay? So make sure as you're practicing this, you're not playing it straight. It's not 1 and 2 and 3. It's 1 and 2 and 3. That's called a swing feel. In the left hand, I'm just playing a simple C dominant 7 chord, and you can add a little chord pop right there on the E. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then do it again. 1 and 2 and 3, right there on that G flat, okay? This is called the Charleston rhythm, and it's a very important rhythm in the blues. Now you want to build some speed on this. I think a great target tempo is about here. Okay, and once you're feeling good, you can actually go 2 octaves. So you could go all the way up to this high C. Right? Just continue up the piano, and you can pick any note to stop, maybe the G, and if you want, you can even take it down. Okay, so really get comfortable with these 8th notes. When it's feeling really good in your hands, we're going to do the intermediate exercise. All right, intermediate players, if you want to master this scale, I do encourage you to play a triplet exercise. I'll play it for you, and then I'll break it down. Okay, if you want to play blues piano and you want to sound like a pro, you have to be able to play triplets. And so that's what we're working on here. Basically, I'm taking the scale and I'm dividing each beat into 3 notes. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3, and then we hold. Okay, does that make sense? So we're going up 2 octaves and we're playing triplets, which sound amazing when you improvise with them. Okay, once you get to the top, you're going to take it down. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3. Okay, now for the left hand chords, you want to pop the chord on the and of beat 2. 1 and 2 and. And the way you do this with triplets is it's on the 3rd triplet of beat 2. 1 and a 2 and a. You see that? Okay. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a, 3, okay? So that one goes on the B flat there, okay? Really important Charleston rhythm, and then you can play it down the piano, 1 and a 2 and a on the F, 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a on the D, and then 3, 4. A good target tempo is about here. Okay. Now something I mentioned earlier is getting the right feel of these notes, and the feel refers to the phrasing and which notes you sort of accent. So as you're playing this scale, I encourage you to accent certain notes. There's no right or wrong note to accent, so you can pick the one you want, but just make sure you're not playing them all the same volume. All right, now I know we have some advanced students watching this that want to use this scale, so if you're an advanced student and you want to master this scale, this is the exercise for you. I'm going to play it first, and then I'm going to break it down how I like to practice it. So here's how it sounds. So for this exercise, what you're doing is you're really mastering being able to play this scale starting on any note. And this is the hallmark of an advanced jazz improviser or blues improviser, is they can play a scale like this. And they can start on any note they want, and they're totally comfortable improvising. So for this exercise, you're going to play the C Mixo-Blues Scale up starting on C, and we're going to use triplets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to do a stop on the C, and then we're going to go back and we're going to play the same scale, except we're going to start on the D. So we have it like this. Okay? And the fingering can be a little bit tricky because you're not always starting on your thumb. Okay? So for the E flat, you're going to start on the third finger. Does that make sense? And then for the E, you can start with your thumb. You can end on the fourth finger there. For the F, I like to start on 2. Okay. For the F sharp, you can start on the third finger. Okay. G starts on the thumb. A, I like to start on the 2. And for the B flat, you can start on the third. And finally, a good tempo for this exercise is about here. And you want to do this up the piano. You can also do this down the piano if you want, starting from the high note and moving down each note of the Mixo-Blues Scale. All right, in this last step, we're going to talk about some keys to improvising with your Mixo-Blues Scale. But before we talk about these keys, if you want to do a deep dive on your blues scale and you want to learn basically all of the techniques that I use when I'm improvising with the blues scale, you can learn them in our 10-lesson blues challenge. You'll learn some amazing exercises, how to play them over blues chords, and all of the amazing techniques that you can use to create your own licks and riffs. We have a beginner to intermediate level course and an intermediate to advanced level course, so I'll put a link to those below. All right, if you want to improvise with the Mixo-Blues Scale, the way I encourage you to think about this scale is a combination of the major blues scale and the minor blues scale. Because if you think about it this way, it will actually help you improvise a ton. And so the major blues scale is actually these 6 notes, okay? C, D, E flat, E, G, and A. Okay? And the cool thing with the major blues scale is it actually covers all of the notes that don't belong to the minor blues scale, but are contained in the Mixo-Blues Scale. Okay? So play the major blues scale, C, D, E flat, and then thumb on the E, E, G, A, and C, okay? And what this does is it gives you the 2 grips that you really should think about when you're improvising. These top 4 notes I call the C grip, or grip number 1, and then if you put your pinky on the G, you get this grip down here, right? G, E flat, D, C, and A. This is grip number 2, or what I call the G grip. And so when you're improvising, it can be very helpful to think of these grips whenever you're building your lines. Now, in the G grip, I did mention you play these notes. You can also grab the E in there if you want more of this sound. And once you've done your major blues grips, then do your minor blues grips. So these are the grips that come from the C minor blues scale. So grip number 1, I like to use these 5 notes. I call this the C grip. And then you can do the G grip with these 5 notes. And once again, when you're improvising, it's helpful to think of these grips. So C grip, G grip, C grip, G grip. All right, the last thing we're gonna do is improvise over a blues backing track with a full band. And by the way, you can download this backing track. You can also download the lesson sheet music you're seeing up here on the top left of your screen. And you can change the key of this entire lesson with a click of one button with our smart sheet music. So I'll put a link to all of that below, and let's play it with the backing track. All right, let's pick the C grip, maybe for the C minor blues scale. There's the major blues. Hey, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the lesson, please let me know in the comments. Also, be sure to check out pianowithjonny.com. We have over 1,000 step-by-step lessons for all playing levels where you'll learn your favorite songs, styles, and how to improvise at the piano. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.